Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Sir, am I audible? I'm Dr. K. Sangeeta. Can anybody help out me? Just say
Yeah,
whether
ma'am.
I'm audible or
Yeah, yes, ma'am, you're audible.
thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. Good evening to all. Today is yet another great day of our online workshop, a systematic way of research paper writing. Today, our guest of honor is Dr. Shresh Chabara, sir. Dr. Shresh Chabara is a distinguished educator with over 20 years of experience. Holding a PhD in labor welfare, he serves as associate professor at Delhi College Business School, Indore. Dr. Chabala is a renowned author, reviewer, and mentor contributing to national and international platforms. His affiliations with esteemed journals and editorial boards demonstrates his commitment to excellence. His contribution is recognized by prestigious institutions, including Rotary Club and Amity Business School. Dr. Chabara will share his expertise on in understanding ethical issues and plagiarism. On behalf of the Research Center of Commerce, management of Fatima College, and participant, I welcome Dr. Shresh Chabara, sir. I also welcome all staff and students of other colleges and Fatima College. Once again, I welcome you all. Over to sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words. And very good evening to each and everyone. Team RFI, uh, Jain sir, Ajay Jain sir, Ashok sir, everyone from from my family of RFI, and from Fatima College, and all the my respected colleagues from all institutions which are listening to me as of now. I'm told that there would be some of the students who are also present. Am I right, ma'am? Students are also present over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great, great, ma'am. Thank you. So all the students, I extend a very good evening to everyone, to one and all who are present over here in this session. I would try and make this session as simple and what should I say, as interactive as possible. I would request all of you to please, contribute your ideas to this understanding of this session, or you feel free to ask me doubts, since there are students who may be getting introduced to research, or maybe a PhD scholar. To both of them and to all my respected faculty colleagues, wherever you feel that there is a doubt or something like that, you can raise your hand, okay, something like this, okay, and then you can interact with me, okay. So feel free to do so. Okay, so without taking any further time of yours, I straight away start with my session. So it would be more of more of an experience sharing session. My experience as a faculty, as a PhD guide, uh, as reviewer in journals. So I would be putting up my and obviously I would see when we talk about ethics in research, we primarily most of us would get this idea that we are talking about plagiarism, okay, which is right also. Not exactly plagiarism, but there are other issues as well. We would be dealing with those issues. Uh, I was introduced to this idea of plagiarism in 2008 by my parent university, that is De Montfort University, UK. Uh, from there, since then, we have been using a software you might have heard about, Turnitin. Okay, so almost all our student assignments would go on Turnitin. I do understand that the way we deal plagiarism in UK and the way we deal with plagiarism in India are two different ideas. Okay, so these are two different ideas. So I would be mostly talking about the Indian idea of publication ethics and plagiarism. I would, whenever there would be a parity to be drawn between the two, I would give you a comparison between the two as to how a UK plagiarism check or count would be different from, especially in terms of my university, how it was different from there and how Indian universities differ on that idea. Okay, so there are well laid down rules and regulations, I should use this word, or there is an code of conduct. That is what is where we talk about ethics. Okay, so you need to be original. When I say original, I mean that uh, not only as a part of ethics, but think about it. If you are doing your PhD, anyone from the group who is a PhD scholar? Anyone from the group who is a PhD scholar? Okay, no, not an issue. So when you are writing a research paper, even if you are tomorrow, if you may pursue a PhD, please make sure that this research work may be used by someone tomorrow, maybe by government, to frame their policy or to give direction to the policy. So that may be your contribution to the society by and large. Plus, your research may be a plus one to the existing pool of knowledge, okay, in that particular subject. So please make sure that you are actually adding some knowledge, some value to it. After all, you would be working hard over it. Okay. So please make sure that you are you are not distorting anything. You are not giving anything which is in any way fabricated or falsified in that thing. I will be talking that later during my course of presentation. So please make sure that there is some originality in the work that you are trying to do. There is some some contribution that you are trying to make to a larger for a larger benefit. So that, I believe, is the most important ethical standard when one comes into research, when one is pursuing his or her career in research. If I don't know if people from some science background are also listening to me, then it more and more it becomes more important that you do some researches which are more led by an original idea. So, what is that? What we are talking about, or what can be the issues, or what can be the concern about when we talk about ethics or ethical standards on in publication? Okay, so I'll deal one by one. Okay, uh, the first and important idea is that whenever you start your research, and if you are obviously you would be doing research to get it published, so it's always important that you read the publication guidelines, the author guidelines or authorship guidelines, which are available with the journal. Okay, so it's always important that you read those and understand those guidelines. Now, what is larger content in those guidelines? The larger content are the format which they want the paper to be. I'm not talking about format in terms of how they want the manuscript to be like, but like I give you an example. In one of the journals in which I am associated as a reviewer in a case study journal, so they want the case study to be in a format which includes a background note on theory also. Monica ma'am has raised the hand. Yes, please, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. You can speak. Monica ma'am, you have raised your hand. Do you want to say something?
Sorry, sir, wrongly.
No, no, not an issue. Not an issue, ma'am. Not an issue. So, there have been so look into the format of the research. Like I was explaining this thing. A case study journal in which I'm associated as a reviewer wants that the author should give a theory, a background theory, a background of a theory in that idea when it comes to case study writing. So you should be able to explain that what type of theory um, is assisted, or what type of relevant theory you are putting in that case study, so that the logic behind them is that that you should understand that okay, the reader has to go through the theory also, and then through your case also, so he understands both theory and the practice. In another case journal, it is only that you have to write the entire case. The format they want main body, what all they want, and what are they looking forward to in conclusion. All good journals would tell you largely that what are they looking forward to in all these things. So do follow this before you actually, because there is no point struggling with the format later on. That is point number one. Point number two, uh, some of this practice I have seen, which is made by people, that they keep asking people names. When they get the questionnaire filled, they keep asking the names. Okay. Um, Now the question is, I have got two. With due respect to everyone, I keep asking this to guides and to the senior colleagues of mine, that why do you need a name of the respondent? So they would tell you that, sir, actually, this can prevent the student from, or the scholar from getting falsified information. Okay. So with name, are you able to establish that this information is, obtained, this information is actually given by the respondent? Then they would say that, no, sir, but I would ask for an email also. Out of this, around 168 people who are there listening to me, or even more than that, uh, or around 170-75 people who are listening to me, I'm conducting a research. So who all are ready to give their names and emails to me? Please raise your hand. Who all are ready to give your name and email ID to me for the purpose of this research? I would tell you that, okay, this research would be strongly used, or this research would be only used for academic purposes. Obviously, I would be using this research for an academic purpose. Who all are ready? Please raise your hand. I would need your name and your email ID. Okay, great. 2 people have raised the hand. 3, 4. Okay. Okay, great. Continue. 9, 10, 11. Okay. 10 people, I believe. Okay, 10, 11 people out of 173 people that is shown on the list. Okay, only 10 are ready. Rest don't trust me or are not listening. Nonetheless, thank you very much. You can lower your hands. Thank you very much for showing this confidence in me. Okay, thank you. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you can get that idea that out of 72 people who are listening to me, approximately only 10 people have agreed to, give their email IDs or names to me. It is my obligation as a researcher to tell you that how this research should be or would be used. Okay, please don't don't say that it would be used. And specifically, if you are writing a case study or you are developing some case or you are using some organizational data, any data from organization, please tell them that this you would be sending for publication. This publication can be online, offline, whatever it may be. Some people come back to me and tell that, sir, if I tell them the truth, they won't give me the data. Forget about it then. Okay, if the respondent is not ready to give the data, or if the organization is not ready to share their data with you, so today you would say any falsified thing. Okay, today you would make any falsified comment or commitment to them. You would take that data, and what would happen? Tomorrow it would be published. Then what would you do? Okay, if if HR looks into that thing, many corporate people are now doing their PhDs. What if somebody discovers that you have published this data or this information without their consent? And let me remind you, if specifically if you are using any organizational data, many good journals would like to have a consent letter obtained from the organization that you are actually, you this is in consented or in consensus with the organization that you have obtained this data. So make sure that you are, you are not keeping anything hiding. Okay, tell them if they want to share the data, it is okay. Okay, like, so out of this 170 people, only if 10-15 people are interested in sharing their email or name understands me that, uh, what is your contribution in this research? You have taken it from 15 different resources, mixed them, produced in your own language, and made a new paper. So what is your contribution in this? So what should I answer? What should I tell people that what is my contribution in this paper?
The value addition, it can be the value addition, sir.
Ma'am, can you please explain value addition? That's great. Can you please explain this?
Just I have modified and to make it presentable or ornamental, certain points have been added. So
Okay.
that is my, apart from the original work, just to catch up that, some modification is done.
Okay. So, you want to say that one, obviously would be that, I collected it from different resources or sources. Okay.
Yes,
So I
definitely
brought
that
all
should be presented.
those 10, 15 sources together.
Yes, sir. Definitely that should be
That
presented.
would be one contribution. Definitely, yes. Second, in all paper, you have to write a discussion. That in discussion, that is where your analysis comes in. Okay, I'm not using the word opinion. Please stay back with your opinion. There is hardly any scope for opinion in research. Okay, you need to be in line what your data is saying. So what does your analysis suggest? That is what, even as a student, if you are listening to me, in your assignments, if you practice this, try and do an analysis of what the data says. Okay? What is that is what the data is suggesting or indicating? Try and do an analysis, okay, in line with what the data is all about. So that is where your exact contribution would be. Okay, so this too would be your exact contribution in that thing. And thank you, ma'am, for bringing that idea. Now I come to the next part of it. So that we all talked about it. So what you do, and now students have grown smarter. Okay, when I as I told you, I was introduced to this concept of yes, somebody's trying to say something. Is somebody trying to say something? Somebody trying to contribute? Please go ahead and contribute.
So that means understanding and expressing in on words original.
Okay, Rekha ma'am, can you please contribute further? I'm sorry, I did not got your point.
What the discussion was going on, for that I am saying that
Yes, ma'am.
understanding the theme or the topic and or work and expressing in one's own words or representing in the new way.
Great. So that you want to see, Rekha ma'am, is your contribution as a researcher.
Yes, that may be.
Okay, great. So, what people used to do when I told you that I was introduced to this idea of plagiarism in 2008. So what people would do, that they would copy something. What students would do, they would copy something. They would pick up a paragraph, say from some source. Then they would use equivalent synonym types to change that. Okay, but some people would just say pick up only few lines from it. Somebody would pick up a paragraph and then they would change certain lines or certain words, finding their synonyms, something like that. These days, this has gone far beyond it when people use, those AI tools to get it every say for example Turnitin, it's one of the most powerful things. So if you so if you don't have the right, even if say you are not using say for example my organization uses Turnitin. Now you asked me that, sir, can you check a paper for me? You can please put it on Turnitin. It is the strongest, it subscribes to many journals and resources, so it's one of the strongest pentiplex software. Agreed, I would put it into. But the problem is that since I don't have the admin control, I cannot delete it from the database. Now, what would the problem? If I cannot delete it from the database, then what would happen? Then this would, next time if somebody else would upload the same paper, okay, some other journal would upload the same paper that you have submitted to them, since you have given multiple submissions, so some other journal would be uploading it on them, and then it would be plagiarized. Okay, I hope you're getting my point. Now Google has got this database, or this database has got to internet, that this is some paper, okay, submitted by journal A. When journal B would check the same paper, it would get high on a higher side of plagiarism. So that is the most important problem, one, with multiple submissions. Two, it's always better that you check the submission guidelines, that how much time on an average does this journal takes. If you're ready to wait for that time, it's okay, else search for some other journal if you want a faster publication. this. But let it be under closed doors. But at times you have to agree for that. But for no contribution of the people, they use their positional idea. Think about it. Okay, to borrow when you graduate to, or you actually move on to that level. Think about it. What is your contribution? Why you are trying to take the credit of the research? Maybe as a second author, third author, whatever it may be. Why you are trying to take a credit out of that research? If you are got nothing, if you're not even at the student level also, not only in research, in assignments also, in a group assignment, in a group presentation, what have you contributed? Okay. If no contribution has been made, then why you are trying to take a credit? Okay. So think about it seriously. Else, please try and do some contribution into it. Okay. To the existing thing, please try and do some contribution onto it. Okay. Far but true, there can be conflict of interest. I may be associated with that organization on which the research is being carried out in one or the other way. So I should declare that such type of conflict of interest. Okay. So I'm paid for certain research. So you understand that I may not talk harsh, or my research facts could be question marked. I don't use this word bias, but they could be question marked. So think about it. That conflict of interest, that is something all good journals would want you to declare a conflict of interest, that directly or indirectly you are not under any influence of the organization, by the individual, or something wherein this research was primarily, or by the respondents where this research was carried out, and the results are not biased, because conflict of interest can create a huge amount of biasness in what you are reporting. Okay. So that is what is something very important. Now, here Rekha ma'am, I would, in this almost towards the end of my presentation, I would try and address your question also, Rekha ma'am, that you asked me that what if the I give you two ideas on to plagiarism. One question that you asked, one question I would add on to your question. You asked me that what should be done when the review of literature is plagiarized. Am I right, Rekha ma'am? That was your question?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, great. I would add one more question. What if only my reference list is plagiarized? Hardly there is any plagiarism seen in my entire research work. It's only that my research, my entire reference list is plagiarized. What should I do then? I would answer both the questions for you. In the first case, as I told you, that plagiarism of in any part is an offense. So what you can do is that, like say, some people try and tell me that, sir, review of literature means that I am quoting someone else's work. Agreed. When I'm quoting someone else's work, then I should have that freedom to tell me what they have said. Agreed. Then if you say that plagiarism would be counted, then how I can, I have to change the meaning out of it. That is not agreed. Okay. As I told you, some people, what they would do, they would copy paste it and then they would change certain synonyms of doing it, or they would use some other way of looking at it. No, please don't do that. The point telling you is very simple. In whichever part you are trying to pick up, okay, you can always rewrite that part in your own words. One. Two, if you are using a quotation, don't try to overuse any quotation. Okay. In any sources, don't try to use a quotation. Three, don't try to use a larger piece of or larger chunk of material or data as a quotation. Okay. So if you are using a quotation, sparingly use it. Okay. In a chapter, maybe 1 or 2 quotes, that would suffice. What if I'm using a definition? Great. If you're using a definition, put it in quotes. But I'm pretty sure you won't be, making a huge amount of definition or huge amount of, many definition in a single chapter. Don't do that. Even if you're trying to, how many definitions would you try to write in a research paper? 2, 3 maximum. That's it. Okay. Should use the shorter ones. And please remember to put it in inverted commas, so that all good plagiarism software, including Turnitin, would understand that this, since you have put it in inverted, that means this is a quote. And then please put a author's name and then the citation, okay, the research citation also, okay. Because you can tell them that from this I have put from this I have used this quote, okay. So that are the easier way wherein you can save yourself from any type of accidental or incidental plagiarism, okay. Rekha ma'am, have I answered your question or something more you would like to ask from me?
Yes, sir. As you have told that definition, so this applies to introduction part also.
Absolutely, yes ma'am. This would apply.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, ma'am. That plagiarism of any part can be harmful. So avoid plagiarism in any part. Okay. So if you are using a definition, please don't try to overuse many definitions. Okay. You can obviously give credit to the author and say that this, while defining this term, he meant like this, and then you can write it in your own words. You have already given, reference of the author. You already cited the author. So it's always better that if you feel that there are many definitions that you are, say, if the research paper demands so, okay, I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 definitions would suffice in a research paper. But if your research paper demands so, then try and use it as an indirect form, not as a quote. Don't put many materials in quote and don't put very large data. Fifth thing, don't try to put a larger chunk from a single source, okay, because that would become an you would be easy the prey of plagiarism. Use multiple sources. Say for example, I give an example. I'm using, say, one definition from one book, another definition from another book, even though given this idea also that the same definition is given in one book. Okay, say I'm using 3 definitions. Why can't I use 2 books or 3 books to write the same to write 3 different definitions? Why I want to use only one book? Say, for example, this applies that you have you have got 3 or 4 books in library, okay, or online there are books available, or online these definitions are available from a reliable resource. Then why don't you use 3 different definitions from 3 different resources? You should, rather than using 3 definitions from a same resource. The chances of getting it plagiarized are high. Okay, even if say if you have, say, you use 20-25 sources, that would one show the depth of your sources, that this before, while you arrived at or while you did this study, you actually used this many resources or this many sources actually. Point number 1. Point number 2 is that when you are actually using the chances of getting into plagiarism, since the single source of plagiarism would be less. Okay, say if you have got under 1% of plagiarism from say 10 different sources, still that would be manageable. Okay, Priya Bharta Nath, you have raised your hand. Am I audible to you, Mr. Nath? Am I audible to you, Mr. Nath or Miss Nath? If I am not pretty sure. Am I audible to you? Okay, that may be an accidental hand raise, not an issue. So look out for a range of sources. That would be always helpful for you. I always talked about this idea that something may not be native to you, that may not be your native language. Like I give you my own example. I developed the questionnaire in English. Your respondent understands primarily the native language in northern India. Most of the people would understand Hindi as a language. So I also come from a North India belt, but I cannot proclaim this thing that when I would make an English to Hindi translation, I would be exactly getting the meaning. Okay, so please don't try to refer to something which is not your native language. It's always better that when you are trying to translate into a native language, take a help of a person who may be a postgraduate or a graduate at least in that native language. Okay, so I took, in my case, I took a help from MA Hindi. Okay, a gentleman who has done MA Hindi, and this I have written in my research work also, that this was translated by this gentleman, not the name, but by a scholar in MA Hindi. So I used that scholar to actually translate my work. It's always better that rather than trying something, okay, or copying some idea from somebody to say something, it is always better that you use a person from who is technically qualified. Okay, I repeat this word: who is technically qualified to do such a translation. Use that as a if at all your questionnaire requires, or your any part of your research requires a translator. Okay, don't always rely on the free translator which are available through Google. Okay, that can be a question mark onto your entire thing, the way you write it. Some authors may have you might be referring to some author who is from a Greek language, who is Spanish. Okay, you may seldom it happens, but it does happens that I'm referring to a research from a Spanish author. Okay, so journals do publish in native language. Many journals do publish in native language. So rather than trying Google translation, I should go for an official translation. So all good journals would provide you an official translation for that. So see, and most importantly, use your common sense. That is that what exactly you want to, what would be a translation meaning types. So you use your common sense on that. So that would be always that thing. Give credit to every person, and they give credit. See, many people come to me to ask that, sir, can I give a credit only at the end of the paragraph? Shall I put all the citation at the end of the paragraph? No. Even if you are using a word from someone, if you are using a phrase someone, give them a credit. There is no harm in giving them a credit. Okay, it's always better that if you can give credit to people, because that's not your original work. Okay, I've already given you an idea of that, that anti-plagiarism software check. Any plagiarism software check, paid or unpaid, okay, free or otherwise available to you, from which you cannot delete the main file from the data source, please don't use it. Okay, and especially I would refrain you from using any type of free plagiarism software. Okay. To understand that how much single source is okay with that, what is over, like say in Indian terms, maybe 10 to 15%, not beyond that, is okay. And obviously, but you should also understand that if say 15% is okay, then if I'm getting 5% from a single source, it is okay. My understanding would say that it is not okay. Okay, if you are get overall 15%, then try and reduce the single source to 2%. And that is the reason I'm saying you that don't use one resource to take much material from that. Use multiple resources. Okay, you would find those resources. Use multiple resources, even if that is available on the same thing. Okay, so especially understand that when our students also do research, we try and get them to sign them a kind of, what I should say, uh, uh, a declaration, okay, that this is an authentic thing. If they are using a primary data which is available either through company, or if you are going to interview someone in company, or you are getting it through questionnaire, irrespective of the data type of data that you are using, if it is a primary data, okay, the technology, the technique that you are using to collect that data, I'm sorry, not technology, the technique that you are using to collect that data, irrespective of that, you are interviewing, you are using questionnaire, survey, whatever it will be. The primary idea is that you need to declare that there are certain declaration. There is a declaration form that we keep even for the students. Okay, and one of the point is says that you have the respondent was informed of the purpose of the research. Okay, and that this data is consented, is collected in
Okay, sir. Thank you. I have one more question, sir.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Regarding adding the name of the co-author
Yeah,
you have
yeah, yes,
discussed, no, sir.
yes, yes.
I really salute that you have mentioned that if you are not contributing, don't do that. That was really a good one, sir. But
Okay, ma'am.
in the
I do
universities,
understand what happens in practice, ma'am.
no, sir, there are guides. There are guides who used to help the candidates in order to go through that paper, or they direct the candidates in order to contribute towards that paper. So they
Yes,
do help them,
yes.
but there are persons who are not helping, and they are asking their students to incorporate their name.
Hmm.
This is one side. But the university, when we are submitting the thesis or whatever it may be, the university insists that if there is there is absence of the guide name, they are
Hmm.
not permitting the candidate to submit it, or they raise question and they don't allow the candidates to submit their thesis. This is what happening in the recent days, sir. So how do
Okay.
you see, or what the candidate can do? Because the university insisting that without the guide, how can you publish the paper? They were raising questions. So how can we overcome this one, sir?
Oh, that's really sad to know, Sophia, ma'am. I'm not aware that if actually, some universities are doing that, but in practical cases, let's try and sound practical, ma'am. So my answer to this would be very simple, Sophia, ma'am, that, try and extract some contribution from your guide so that you also don't feel bad about it. That's what I'm saying. Let's sound practical, ma'am. I can give you an idealistic answer, but that idealistic answer, won't serve your purpose, ma'am. So I would answer this in more practical way, that can extract some contribution from the author, from your guide. Your guide means anyone's guide. You can extract some contribution from it in one or the other way, that okay, sir, I'm writing this paper, or okay, ma'am, I'm writing this paper. So what I should do, how I should do, what I should do, can you please guide me on this thing? Try and extract some contribution from them, even if in terms of guidance, take it back. So then you would also, be under that pressure, or under that moral pressure of adding someone's name without doing any contribution.
Even the guide is not preferring to include, sir, but in universities are insisting, because the guide says that it is your original and genuine work, so I don't want to take any credit over that. So they are very genuine. In my case, my guide is very genuine, sir. So but
Most
it
of them are, ma'am.
happens.
Most of
uh,
them are.
yeah, but in university they are insisting. So then one more question, the last
Yes, ma'am.
question. See, is there any criteria or stipulated duration for the guide after submission? The candidates can get their 5 hours. Like, is there any criteria for the guide from the guide side? From the researcher side, they have a period duration that within a stipulated time they have to complete their thesis. I just wanted to know, from the research guide side, is there any stipulated time that they have to complete? The candidates who have submitted their thesis, they have to proceed further. Because in the
Uh,
guidelines, when we are surfing in the net, we couldn't find any guidelines for that.
I really doubt, ma'am, that there is
From the
any.
research
There,
candidate side, they were insisting that
I
within a
really doubt,
stipulated
ma'am, that there are any
time, they have to
type
complete
of
it.
such
So,
guidelines that 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 once the thesis is submitted, or once the research work is submitted, this much time is allowed for the guide or someone else to actually make it publication. They're not in or what you should say. They're not under that obligation of doing that within a certain time period. So that's a question mark, ma'am. I really doubt that there are any such guidelines.
Good evening, Professor.
Good evening, ma'am.
Is there any idea or tips to find out cloned journal?
Ma'am, as I said, that Savitri Bai Phule website, you can check that on the UGC CARE website. They have got a list of clone journals. Okay, they have got a list of clone journals. So do actually click on their link. Do actually visit what they want to say. I give you a simple idea, ma'am. I give you a very simple idea.
Okay.
Any
Okay.
journal which gives you a promise that it would be fast, very fast publication,
Oh.
and they would be asking some amount of money,
Yes,
And
sir.
especially that, they would be publishing it very fast. Okay, that today you submit, day after tomorrow you would get even if you want a letter of acceptance, they would give you a letter of acceptance, because no UGC journals would give you any letter of acceptance, or even for that matter, Scopus or Web of
Okay.
Science would give them.
Yes, sir.
One which are promising a very fast publication,
Okay.
believe that you should be suspicious on them.
Okay. 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 Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. I have a few reasons. If you can just tell me if I'm right, why the universities insist guide's name to be added to the research articles published by the WATS. I understand, or I cite the reasons could be no, the guide provides
Insisting on that
valuable.
thing. So,
Yeah,
ma'am,
why the why?
just one minute, 1 minute.
Yes,
I'm really sorry. I'm trying to, I'm not trying to stop you in between. My
yes,
only idea is not that you should add or you should not add guide's name. My idea is not that. My idea
yes,
is that, ma'am, that
yes, sir.
you have not made any contribution. See, I would tell it openly on my on a public platform that I have published many research papers using my including my guide's name. It was
Yes,
never asked by my guide, never. Okay, that
yes,
it was
yes,
asked by my guide to do so. Never
yes,
has he asked for that thing.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
But the point is that I have done that research under his guidance. Okay, so
Yes, sir,
that
yes,
is
sir.
his contribution. This entire research, what I have done, is his contribution. So that is
Exactly,
why,
sir.
so that is what
Exactly,
so
exactly,
I
sir.
should be crediting him, or I should be I should be crediting him for the good work that he has done. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes,
even
sir.
by guiding me.
Exactly,
So that is,
exactly.
so in that's what I was telling to Sophia ma'am also, that what is wrong or what is unethical is that you try to just add your name without doing anything, maybe due to
Yes,
your
sir.
position, any position. I've seen directors also doing it, ma'am.
Yes,
Why
sir.
is it
Yes, sir.
one should be blame guides for the doing that? Even
Yes,
directors also do that, or your teacher, under whom you have done research, they are also doing it. Ask them, take
yeah.
their contribution. Okay, if you
Yes,
are
sir.
in a such fixed situation, take their contribution and then add their name. You would also be
Yes, sir.
good about it.
Yes, sir. I also would like to add a point here that
Yes, ma'am. Please.
it is no, it's a shared responsibility when we come to publication,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
hence when we publish with the guide's name,
Mm-hmm.
any article, it enhances both the student's reputation as well as the guide's reputation,
Mm-hmm.
and it also encourages. We learn from each other, and therefore that could be future partnerships in case the student or the ward seems to be an expert in the concerned area. His or her expertise can be very well seen, and it could be the increasability of the visibility of the expertise could be done, and that could also be providing with networking opportunities, and a broader acknowledgement of support. I see these are the advantages when we add guide's name along with our names, provided guides also, as you mentioned, directors, at least direction is given by them,
Absolutely.
and also a sort of accompaniment is being given by them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your inputs. Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Sir, I have a question. Let's suppose if I check my research paper through Turnitin
Mm-hmm.
before submitting to a journal, and that journal is using the same software Turnitin, so that will come up with flag.
Ma'am, the simple answer to this is that once you have checked it, okay, then
Yes,
if you have checked it, then it's always better that if you can delete it from, once you have checked, you can always delete it from the database. If that you can do, please go ahead and check it. If you can't do that, or if you can't ask the people to do it, then it's always a question mark. even if they are not, they may not be using the same type of or the similar software.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So please avoid using such type of. Any further questions, or shall we call it a day? I'm sorry, I've already you know, exceeded the time limit given to me. Fair enough. So RFI, people from RFI. Okay, Trisha ma'am, you have or Trisha, you have raised. Somebody has raised the hand.
Yes, sir. Respected sir, esteemed teachers and dear participants, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sheshwar Chabra, Associate Professor, DCBS Indo, for shedding light on the crucial topic of ethical issues. Your insightful presentation and engaging discussion have expanded our understanding of importance of academic integrity and ethical responsibility. Your expertise and passion for promoting ethical standards have inspired us to uphold the highest values in our work. We appreciate the valuable resources and practical tips shared to help us navigate complex ethical dilemmas and avoid plagiarisms. This session has not only enhanced our knowledge but also uplifted a sense of community, encouraging us to support one another in maintaining the highest ethical standards. Thank you, sir, for your time, expertise, and dedication to promoting ethical awareness. Your contribution will have a lasting impact on our academic and professional endeavors. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you to all my respected colleagues, RFI, for providing this platform, and all students who were present here with us today. So have a great evening ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.